Welcome to SAS, short and sweet tips for the business sector from the Case Mastermind Group.
Well, to begin with, what I'd like to talk about is a traditional sales process. I've been in and around sales for about the last, almost 40 years. I started off in sales, telesales, and then I moved into face-to-face field sales, and then I moved up the management ladder. And as you said earlier, then went into general management, but there was always a sales function within my responsibility. So I spent a lot of time watching salespeople struggling with the process. Now, when I was taught, I didn't really think much about it. And I didn't really clock that the traditional way of training sales is incredibly adversarial. It actually requires an awful lot of energy, not just on behalf of the salesperson, but also the client, believe it or not. So let me just typify what I think a traditional sales approach is like in order to deconstruct it. Starts with some kind of contact. The contact leads typically, if it's a field sales position, to some form of meeting. At the meeting, the salesman is trained to listen for buying signals by asking open questions. And once he or she gets those signals, to begin to start presenting with a view to closing the sale. The close almost always gets delayed through stalls and objections and think it overs and things like that. And at the end of the process, what typically happens is the client disappears. Depends on your close ratio, but let's say a good close ratio is 25%. 75% of the time, they're just going to disappear in a puff of smoke.
Yeah.
The whole process is adversarial because the salesman is trying to pounce on the bits that they want to. Once they've got it, they then start hammering it home with force, because that's kind of what you're taught to do. And then when they think they've got a sniff of blood, they go close. Alternative, would you like it black or white? Time limited. If you buy it now, the price goes up on Monday, you can have it at the discount. All sorts, and keeps going and going. In fact, when I was trained, I was taught that if you were really good, you could close up to 10, 15, 20 times to get a deal. And frankly, I don't know what you think, but that's exhausting. And as I say, more often than not, after all that effort, even then, you don't get a sale. So over the course of my time, beginning in sales, but then looking at how salespeople worked, I evolved an approach which it worked better on me. There are a few salespeople who worked with me selling to me, and I could recognize the distinction between those who were traditionally trained and those who had much more emphasis on creating bonding and rapport. And by that, I mean setting themselves up as a proper partner in the process. And I guess what stimulates me and gets me out of bed each morning and makes me kind of do what I do is I think more people should know how to sell that way for two reasons. Ultimately, they will be more successful, and I'll tell you why. But the main thing is it takes stress out of it. If you can have a proper rapport as an equal partner in the process right from the get-go, then the conversation changes. And that conversation can more quickly end up in a no, which is good, by the way. A no is good. You don't want to have your time wasted, and actually you don't want to waste your prospects' time either. So more quickly there, and therefore qualify people out of the process. Or if they're qualified in, you get more sensibly to the kind of conclusion that can benefit both sides. So as a result of that, you sell more, because effectively by qualifying the poor ones out of the process, you've got more time to spend on those that are more likely to convert. So it's less stressful. You don't have to do a performing seal act. You don't have to fake high energy. In some cases, it's not fake, but in many cases, let's really go for this. It's all slightly kind of foreign and kind of rather awkward. Actually, just be normal. You've got a product. That product may or may not be right for your prospect, but actually let's have a conversation about it. And do you know what? If it's not right, it's not a problem. I'll move on. There are plenty more prospects and you don't want me wasting your time. And that's what I train now. And it's what I fundamentally believe anyway. And I think most people, when they get it, it kind of changes their world view of sales quite dramatically. Many people take months, if not years, fully to come back to that position. But when they get it and they see the results on their income and the results on their whole stress level for the positive, then it's very rewarding to me.
Thank you for spending time with us today. This has been brought to you by the Case Mastermind Group. Please be sure to follow us in the links to this message. Please give your real, honest feedback on what you have just heard and share what you enjoyed or liked the best. We really do check the feedback that we receive. Please also share with your friends who you believe could benefit from it, just to show you care. To our listeners, remember, no matter where you are on the mountain of success, let's enjoy the journey together to the top. We will see you there, my friends.